Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back. Happy Wednesday, everybody. How are y'all doing on this beautiful, beautiful, beautiful day? Welcome back to another edition of Nick at Noon. As you are popping in, let me know where you're watching from. Where are you listening from? I am coming at you live from Denver, Colorado. And yes, let's just address the elephant in the room that I am just a tad bit late today. It has been a challenge to get here today, but guess what? We are here. Hello, hello, hello. Thanks for joining. Let me know where you are watching from, where you are listening from. All right. Yes, we're just going to jump right into it. On Wednesdays around here, we're going to talk about money. And I want to talk to you about how she made $10,000 in this program. Okay. And I want to tell you specifically what life looks like on the other side. Y'all know that I don't want to talk about the highlight reel version. I don't want to talk about the screenshots of strike notifications on a good launch day. I don't even want to talk about the version of life that is designed to make you feel like if you just buy the right program, everything will be fine. I want to talk about the real version. I want to talk about the real version. I want to talk about the version where a professional woman who had been doing okay, right? She was posting a little bit, she was getting a client here and there. She was working herself to exhaustion for money that didn't reflect her value. I'm talking about the version where a professional woman makes a few strategic decisions and then watches her entire business change. That is the version that I want to talk to you about today. Because I really think that is the version you might need to see right now. So, welcome back to Nick at Noon. My name is Nick Scott, and I'm a business coach and founder of Her Income Headed. And I help women use their existing skills to build sustainable online businesses without quitting their 9 to 5, without the hustle, without the burnout, and without the overwhelm. And like I said at the top of this discussion, today is Money Wednesday. And I want to paint you a picture. I want to paint you a picture not of a fantasy, but one of what's truly available to you right now with the skills you already have. Okay. So let's get on into this. And I want to start this discussion with a story. I want to talk to you about a past client of mine, Miss J. And she came from a human resources and recruiting background. She had 7+ years working for global companies, helping organizations identify top talent, implement hiring strategies, and build systems. And she was good at her job. Miss J was skilled. The people around her constantly came to her for career advice. They asked her how to nail an interview. They asked her how to position themselves for a promotion. They would ask for advice on how to navigate a career pivot. They would ask her for advice on, updating her resume. Hello, hello. Thanks for joining. And Miss J was doing all of that for free, y'all. So when she decided to transition into coaching, she thought she knew what building a business looked like. And she did. She knew some of the steps like registering her business, getting her LLC and her EIN and all of that. She knew to build a website. She knew that she needed to post on social media, create a content plan. She knew that she needed to promote her business with online advertising and put flyers out in community organizations. And she would hope that people would come knocking once she did all of those things. And some people did come to see Miss J. Miss J did sign some clients. She started getting some clients and she was doing okay. Like she was doing okay, but there was no strategy behind any of what Miss J was doing. Miss J didn't have a coherent brand or clarity on who she was really trying to reach. She didn't have a system for attracting the right clients consistently. She was literally all over the place on social media, y'all. And she was charging what she thought she was supposed to charge, not what her work was truly worth. The bottom line here is that my client, Miss J, was working harder than she had ever worked and was generating less than she had ever deserved. Does that sound familiar? Because I know that this isn't just her story. This is this is the story of almost every woman who starts a coaching business without a strategic foundation. The skills are there, the clients are coming, but the business is running the person instead of the person running the business, and the income reflects that. But here's where things changed for Miss J. And I want to be clear because it wasn't one single dramatic moment. Things for her changed with a series of decisions. Things for Miss J changed with a series of decisions. The first decision was for her to get crystal clear on who she was talking to. Before, she was posting for anybody, lottie dottie, and everybody. Her content, I said it earlier, it was all over the place because she hadn't made a decision about who specifically she was trying to reach and what specific problem she was trying to solve. And once she made that decision, once Miss J got real specific about the woman she was serving and the transformation she was delivering, the content that she was posting, it started to land. It started to land differently. And the right people started paying attention. The second decision that Miss J made was to build a brand that worked for her even when she wasn't working. So I mentioned earlier about her website. So because she was coaching already, she had a website, she had a social media presence, and she started to lock in on her SEO. And she started to build all of these things with enough intention and consistency that it started doing the attraction work even when she took a vacation, even when life happened and she stepped back for a few days. The brand kept working and the inquiries kept coming in for Miss J. So the third strategic decision that she made, and this one right here, y'all, this is the one that changed the trajectory of her business more than anyone else. Hello, 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 Madison Chase Fitness. Thanks for joining. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, Madison. When I'm referring to the 10K, I am referring to my client, Miss J, whose story that I am talking through and about right now. Thanks for your question. So this third decision that she made, this is the one that changed the trajectory of her business more than anything else. And that was to raise her prices. She didn't raise her prices once while we worked together. She raised her prices 3 times. And let me sit with that for a second, because I think this is the part that's going to be hard for some of you to hear. Miss J raised her prices not once, not twice, but 3 times while we were working together. 3 times while we were working together. And she didn't raise her prices because she got more credentials or because she suddenly became more qualified. She raised her prices because she finally understood that what she was charging was not reflecting what she was worth. Listen, Miss J began to understand that the rate she had set for herself, that it wasn't sustainable. It wasn't sustainable financially, it wasn't sustainable energetically, and it wasn't sustainable as a long-term business model. Check it out. I'm about to tell y'all how much Miss J was charging before we started working together. And it's gonna blow your mind. Miss J was charging $500 for 8 weeks of work. 8 weeks for $500. Thanks for joining on YouTube. And she was exhausted because at that rate, the math never works. You can fill your entire calendar and still not be able to pay your bills. So she raised her rates. And here's what happened. She started being taken more seriously. Miss J started attracting clients who were more committed because they had made a real financial investment. She started having the option to be selective. She was able to work with the women she was most equipped to help rather than taking on any and every and lottie dottie and everybody who would pay her. And the income started to reflect the value that she was providing. Listen, we are talking about money today. Money on this Wednesday. Miss J was charging $500 for 8 weeks of work before we started working together. And the income started to reflect the value she was providing. And I want to tell you a little bit about her launch because this is where the picture gets very specific. So after we built the strategy, the brand, the offer, and the positioning, she launched. And in 21 days, this is the part for you right here, Madison Chase Fitness. This is the part. Within 21 days, she made over $10,000. And I want to say that again because I don't want you or me to gloss over it. In 21 days, $10,000. And it was all from a coaching business that is built on skills she had been giving away for free for years. And here's the beautiful thing about all this. This wasn't the ceiling. This was just the beginning of her coaching business. Because the systems that I helped her build during our time working together, the brand, the client attraction strategy, the offers, those kept producing after the launch was over. And she'll tell you herself that, in fact, a snippet of her testimony is on my website at herincomeedit.com/ignite. And she'll tell you this herself, that she recouped her investment in working with me 4 times over. Thanks for the love on YouTube. Thanks for joining. 4 times over, y'all. And she did it all as a wife, as a mother. She had her own nonprofit that she was running at the time. Miss J was not someone who had unlimited time to pour into her business. She's like me, she's like you. She was someone who had to be strategic about every hour she invested because she had real responsibilities beyond her business. And that is exactly why the strategy mattered. Because if you're like Miss J, you don't have unlimited time and you can't afford to be doing things that just simply don't work. You need clarity, you need a system, you need a brand that does the attraction work even when you can't show up every single day. And Miss J, she has that now. And what she told me when we wrapped up our time together is what I want you to hold on to today from this Money Wednesday conversation. Miss J told me that she never would have guessed she could overcome the fear of going live on video, that she could raise her prices not once, but 3 times. She told me that she didn't think that she could ever build a business that felt like her, that aligned with her. a business that's specific, strategic, and built around the women that she is designed to serve. Are y'all feeling me on this? So she didn't know that any of this was available to her, and it was available to her the whole time. It was available because the skills were always there. What she needed was the strategy to turn those skills into income. And I'm telling you this story because I think a picture of what's possible. I'm telling you this story because I wanted to show you a picture of what's possible that isn't a fantasy. Like, this is real, because the coaching world is full of fantasy. It is full of seven-figure launches. It's full of passive income while you're sipping pina coladas on the beach. It's full of retire in 12 months. And none of that is what I'm here to sell you. None of it. What I'm here to show you is this. A professional woman with real skills, real responsibilities, and real constraints on her time. She was able to build a real business that generates real income and keeps growing. That's what I'm here to show you. I'm not here to sell you these fantasies that you see all over Instagram and social media. And the thing about it is the gap between where Miss J started and where she is now. It's not talent, it's not luck, and it's not the connections or credentials or a massive social media following. The gap between where she started and where she is now is literally strategy. It's literally strategy. It's clarity about who she serves and what she offers. It's a brand that reflects the value she actually provides. It's pricing. Remember, I said she raised her prices 3 times. I keep going back to this because it blew my mind when she told me. And I literally broke it down for her to show her how this just wasn't sustainable. $500 for 8 weeks. $500 for 8 weeks. So the strategy is in the pricing that makes the business sustainable. It's in the systems that keep working even when you can't. These things are not just available to Miss J. They're not just available to me. They're available to you. And they're available to you not someday. They're available to you now with the skills that you already have, with the professional experience you've been accumulating for years. Thanks so much for joining on YouTube. It's available to you with the problems you know how to solve because you've been solving them for free for colleagues, for friends, for people who didn't even know how much they needed what you gave to them. The life on the other side of this decision isn't about becoming someone different. It's about building something that reflects who you already are. It's about building something that reflects who you already are. It's about building the income on your terms. It's about the schedule that works around your real life. Remember, I said Miss J was a wife, Miss J was a mother, Miss J was the leader of a nonprofit. She had responsibilities, y'all. This is about the work that lights you up because it's aligned with exactly what you're good at. The clients who value what you bring because you finally priced it in a way that communicates its worth. And this is not fantasy. This is not fantasy. This is strategy. And it all starts with one decision. It all starts with one decision. And I've been talking about it for the last 2 weeks, and I'm going to talk about it today. Applications for Ignite, they close on March 23rd. And I want to be very direct about what Ignite is designed to do. Because Ignite is designed to get you from where you are now, wherever that is, right? But it's designed to get you from wherever you are now to having a coaching business that generates income from the skills you already have. And I want to do this with you, not in some distant future, like 6 or 12 months from now. I want to work with you for 12 weeks. We work on your clarity. And that means we're going to figure out who you serve, what problem you solve, and what your offer looks like. Hello, hello. Thanks for the love on YouTube. Inside of Ignite, we're going to work on your brand. The same way we worked on Miss J's brand. We're going to work on the positioning and presence that makes the right clients find you. We're going to work on your pricing so you stop undervaluing what you bring to the table. And we work on your mindset. Ooh, baby. Because all the strategy in the world doesn't work if you don't believe you deserve to charge for it. The woman I told you about today, Miss J, she didn't start out believing that any of this was possible for her. She started out all over the place. She didn't have a plan. She didn't have a strategy. She was charging $500 for 8 weeks of work. And she built something that made her over $10,000 in 21 days. Miss J, in our time together, she built something that made her over $10,000 in 21 days. That is not a fantasy, that is real. And that didn't happen because she was exceptional or because her magic is any more beautiful than yours. It happened because she was strategic. It happened because she made one decision, then another decision, and then another decision. And the strategy that I'm talking about is exactly what Ignite delivers. Applications close on when? March 23rd. The link for Ignite is in the description. And if you have any questions about the program, feel free to send me a DM on Instagram at inickscott, and let's talk about it. Before I go, I want to leave you with something that hopefully goes beyond just the numbers, right? Because it's easy to get hung up on the numbers, like, oh my gosh, Miss J made 10K in 21 days. And that's not atypical. Like, that is not uncommon with the women who I work with. Again, you can go and listen to the testimonials on the Ignite webpage at herincomeedit.com/ignite. But I do want to talk beyond the numbers, because I think when we talk about money in the coaching space, we talk about it like it's the goal. I mean, let's be clear. Money and income and revenue is important. I'll be the first one to say that. So I would never minimize the importance of money and revenue and income. But what I've watched happen for women who build strategic coaching businesses is something way bigger and more meaningful than money. And it is the shift in how they see themselves, right? So the woman who spent 10 years being the person everyone came to for free advice and finally built something that says, what I know is worth paying for. Or the woman like Miss J, who was working herself to the ground for $500 and finally understood that her sustainability matters too. Or what about the woman who thought she needed another degree or certification or another decade of experience before she could call herself a coach? But then she discovered that she was already equipped, that she was able to generate a real income using the skill set that she already has, leaning on the experience that she already has. And that shift right there, that is what life looks like on the other side. Not just more money. Money is important. We like it. We need it. We got bills to pay. We got things we want to do. So money is more important, but it's not about the money. It's about more alignment and more ownership of what you've built and what you know you have to offer. And that right there is available to you. That right there is available to you. I'm going to pause right there and just see if there are any questions. questions. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat. Like I said, if you're not comfortable dropping them in the chat, you can certainly reach out to me on Instagram at @inickscotts, and I will answer your questions there. So I hope you enjoyed the story about Miss J. She's just one of the many clients that I've worked with over the years. And I'm hoping that I'll be able to work with more clients like her in this founding cohort of Ignite. So I want you to come back tomorrow. I'll be talking about some hot takes. And I'm probably going to say something that's going to make a lot of coaches in this space very uncomfortable. Surprise, surprise. If you have been rocking with me for Nick at Noon since we launched this thing on March 9th, you already know. I'm here to kind of shake things up a little bit. I don't want you to miss it. So set your reminders. We'll be on time at noon tomorrow. And again, if Ignite is calling your name, if me going through the program stirred something in you, head to the website, herincomeedit.com/ignite. Applications for the founding cohort, they close on March 23rd. I am capping it at 15, but I really would like to see at least 7 women in this cohort. Again, the link for Ignite is in the description. If you have any questions about this episode or anything that I covered here, or any questions about Ignite and the program, please feel free to reach out to me on Instagram. I do check my DMs pretty regularly. And yeah, let me just check the chat one more time. I want to thank all of you for hopping in, spending a little bit of your afternoon with me today. And I will see y'all in the next one. Yes, tomorrow at noon, Nick at Noon, live. Set your reminder. Don't forget to go check out the Ignite webpage at herincomeedit.com/ignite. And let me know what you think. Hit me up on Instagram. All right. I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.